What's up guys, Trap God Senpai back with another video. This one's going to be a collab with my buddy and fellow YouTuber Yugioh. We put together a bracket of some of the best shonen anime of all time, and we're going to be debating the better shows. As you can see here, we have some bangers lined up, and I'm excited to dive in. But first, I'll let my buddy give a little intro as well.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me, Trap God Senpai Yugioh here. Super excited to be involved in this video with you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so I think we're just going to jump straight in here. So the first matchup we have is Hunter x Hunter versus My Hero Academia. I'll start off on the first one, I think, and we can switch back and forth with who starts. So for this one, I think my pick's going to have to definitely be Hunter x Hunter. I know that My Hero Academia is like the newer, fresher show, and it's got a huge like cult following and whatnot. But I personally am not a huge fan of the show, so I think this one's pretty easy for me. And Hunter x Hunter is just it's a classic, man. Like it's so cool. Like I love all the characters. Like you love Gon and Killua, Kurapika too, badass, and then you have like the bad guys as well, like Illumi and Hisoka and Crollo. Everyone's like, I just love everyone in the show. It's so cool. And so I think that's what my pick's gonna be. I'll let Yugioh take it over from here.
Yeah, honestly, I think on this first bracket here, I'm definitely going to have to agree with you. In the earlier seasons of My Hero Academia, I was definitely a fan, but when it comes to comparing it to Hunter x Hunter specifically, there's just no doubt in my mind that Hunter x Hunter is a better show. I mean, you know, My Hero Academia in the later seasons especially, I feel like it's fallen off a lot more, at least in terms of my opinion. It doesn't keep my interest very much. It's a lot less action-packed. Whereas Hunter x Hunter, I mean, even just within this past month, I've gone back and watched it again, probably my 9th time watching it. And I've still, you know, I've read My Hero Academia, so I'm further along than the anime is even. But either way, I still only did so once, and I have not felt the urge to go back to it. So I know there's a huge fan base out there for that show. But when it comes to comparing it to Hunter x Hunter, there's no doubt in my mind that Hunter x Hunter takes the win.
Yeah, I think we agree on that one. And since we're like kind of hands down like sweeping it past this round, I think we should save some of the discussion topics for the later ones when it's going to be a little harder. So I think we can go ahead and give Hunter x Hunter the win here, and then we'll move on to the next one. You want to start this one off?
Yeah. So in the next bracket here, we've got Death Note versus Demon Slayer. Now, I'm a big fan of both of these shows. In terms of animation, you know, I don't think there's anybody out there that would say that Death Note beats Demon Slayer when it comes to strictly animation style. Demon Slayer definitely pioneered 4K anime these days. But in terms of story and quality, for me, this one's going to have to go to Death Note. Now, I know the second season kind of fell off for it, but in all honesty, a lot of the shows in this list, I would go ahead and pick based on the first season or, you know, beginning of the show, and ignore later seasons of the show. But, you know, that's just my opinion. So for this one, I'm going to say Death Note, but I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Yeah, I think we are in pretty strong agreement with that one. And I also want to give a disclaimer right here. I'll put this in the description and a comment as well, but there will be a lot of spoilers throughout this, so if you guys haven't seen these shows, I'll put the timestamps in the description of like where each one starts and finishes, so you can try and not look or go ahead and watch the shows if you want to. But I think most anime fans agree that Death Note really ended when L died, but everything after that was kind of just like kind of went downhill, and the ending was horrible. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to get into it. But Demon Slayer, as Yugioh was saying, is the animation was insane. It was kind of like the first show to do all that stuff, like coming out later, like all these new shows like Jujutsu Kaisen, like Chainsaw Man, all of them are going to have like these crazy visuals and like graphics. And I think that Demon Slayer kind of was the one to like start that because of its extreme popularity, because of its art style and everything crazy about it. But Death Note was still really good except for the ending, and I had a lot of fun watching it. Like it kept you on your toes. You're always trying to figure out what they were thinking, what they were doing next. And Demon Slayer is kind of like, as much as the animation was great, I think it kind of carried the show. I'm not necessarily sure there was if the animation wasn't as great, say the show was made in like 2010, 2012, I don't know if it would be getting the same like critical acclaim it's getting right now. So I think based on like the actual content of the show and whatnot, I'm gonna have to go give this one to Death Note as well. So was your final vote was for Death Note?
Yeah, mine was as well. One more thing I gotta add here, since we've already gone ahead and given the spoiler disclaimer. Baby Muzan gave me brain rot, and that completely ruined Demon Slayer for me.
Okay.
Death Note, though,
Okay. In case anyone wants to know, there will be manga spoilers as well. Like just stated, I know we didn't really give anything away right there because no one knows what that means, but there will be manga spoilers as well. So if you don't want to hear about it, then
let's throw a disclaimer at the beginning of the video or something.
Yeah, we'll edit it back in. We'll edit it back in.
But even with Death Note, like, just gotta add one last thing. Like, the beginning of the show is so good that when I do go back and rewatch it, I still watch the second season to get the full ending. Like, there's not many shows that have that terrible an ending. I do it every time, Nier, and watching L just lie to his father every time. Watching the continuation of it up until the actual ending, I still get enjoyment out of it.
Dude, it was almost like it's not even like the second season was that bad either. It was just the last episode was so terrible. Like, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, the way they ended it. It was like good up to that point even.
The second season is just just Light, like, stroking himself off for like 12 episodes or whatever. It's just him laughing at everybody else because they're all so dumb compared to him.
Yeah, but there's still like cool stuff that goes on. It's just like the final, the way it ended was horrible, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But luckily enough, it went up against Demon Slayer, and it was able to take this round. So we're gonna give the win to Death Note.
We'll see what happens in the second round for all these shows.
Okay, moving on to the next one. We have Yu-Gi-Oh versus Bleach. I'm a huge Bleach fan. Like, I love the show. I remember when I first watched it, I like binged like all the like 230 episodes, whatever it was. I was just watching it like nonstop. I loved it a lot. Like, it was. I'm not a huge fan of Naruto. Not a huge fan of like Dragon Ball. I like Dragon Ball and stuff, but Bleach, following the same kind of like formula as like many big shonen shows like those. For whatever reason, I took to it a lot more than I took to the other ones, and I thought it was a lot better. But I love Yu-Gi-Oh, dude. Like, it's a sick show. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. I love the card game. Like, I love playing the Legacy of the Duelist on Steam. Like, I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh guy.
I can attest. He is an addict.
Yeah, I have a tattoo of a Millennium Puzzle on my thigh. Like, I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh guy. But so I'm gonna give this one to Yu-Gi-Oh. Even though the Yu-Gi-Oh, like the base Yu-Gi-Oh anime, isn't the best. They don't follow like any of the rules. Nothing really makes sense in the show. And it's back in the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh when like every single monster had like 1200 attack and no effect. But I like the dynamic of all like the characters in it. Like, you obviously love Yugi. What it do, Yug? What it do? You got your Brooklyn Joey. There we go. It's good, dude. I like the show. I like the game. The card game might be the one thing carrying it through this round, but you have to at least factor that in a little bit. So my vote's definitely going for Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'll pass the mic over now.
Yeah, so, I mean, both of these are kind of equal in my mind. For me, Bleach and Yu-Gi-Oh fall into the nostalgia category. I'm a pretty big fan of shonens in general, but mainly like the big three and Dragon Ball. Majority of the rest of these, it could be, it could go either way for me. It's a 50-50. But in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh versus Bleach, I would have to give it to Bleach only because I've watched it so many more times. I never really got into card games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, none of those. I was never a huge fan of actually playing the games, or maybe I just didn't want to learn the rules when I was little. I just like collecting the cards, but that was as far as it went for me. So on this one, I'm going to have to give it to Bleach. But only, as I said, because I've watched it more. I don't really have any concrete evidence for why it would be better than Yu-Gi-Oh! But I also think that in the larger community as a whole, Bleach would definitely take the win in this one.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, seeing as how you just had so much more to go on for Yu-Gi-Oh! Compared to my wanting Bleach, I wouldn't be upset if Yu-Gi-Oh! Does take the dub in this bracket. But
yeah, and so I think we're gonna go ahead and lay down like a little ground rule here. Is that since there's only two of us, there's no real tiebreaker. I think that it's fair to say that if one of us feels super strongly and the other one doesn't, like in this case, where you said that you would pick Bleach, but it's not like you'd be heartbroken if Yu-Gi-Oh won. Unless if we're in that kind of stance where like one of us really votes for one, the other one just doesn't really care that much, we'll just go with the one that we feel strongly about. And if we both feel strongly about like opposite opinions, then we can go ahead and flip a coin. So For this one, I think
like
we're
that,
gonna rock with Yu-Gi-Oh to win.
And I'm okay
Pass
with
it
that.
on.
Like,
Pass it on to the
they're
next
both
round.
really good.
Yeah,
But I'm
I
not
like them both a
passionate
lot.
about either one.
So we're gonna move on to the next round, and I'll let you take it from here.
All right, now look, both of these shows are incredible, but one of them is a clear winner. And that's Food Wars, baby. Come on now. Like, Raygun is sick. You know, Yu Yu Hakusho was one of the first anime I've ever seen in my life. But come on, bro.
There we
Food
go.
Wars is just so exciting. Like, oh my God. Every time you turn on an episode, you get to see somebody make, like, real-looking food. You know, we've got other shows in here like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto. They make food in it, but it's not stuff that like you think you could make in real life. They use ridiculous out there things, but Food Wars is coming in with real ingredients, real recipes, and literally
Real
blowing
pizza,
the
Papa
clothes.
John's.
Papa John's out here anime, bro, and he's blowing the clothes off of people because he's just that like Soma's just such a good cook that people literally like explode out of their clothes in satisfaction. Like, oh my God. Food porn wars definitely taking the dove over Yu Yu Hakusho in my mind here. I'm handing it over to you, Trap God. See what you gotta say.
All right, so great analysis, I think. First of all, I'm also going to be giving it to Food Wars. I liked Yu Yu Hakusho. I thought it was a solid show. I'm not one of those guys that thinks it's like one of the greatest classics of all time, though. So I enjoyed the show for what it was. It was good. It was fun. But Food Wars is like, you got to think there's 10, 15, 20 shows exactly like Yu Yu Hakusho. How many Food Wars is there? There's one. There's like maybe two. It's like its own show. You know what I mean? Like it's there's not a lot like it. And I loved like the realism aspect of it, like that. You can really self-insert with Soma as well because he's just like, he's not some like prodigal chef. Like he didn't like go to all these fancy places. He just like cooked in a diner with his dad and was just making all these crazy foods. It literally makes you feel like you're watching him when he puts these things together. It's like you're high and have the munchies in the kitchen and you're just throwing a bunch of food together, except for when you throw it together, it probably sucks. And when he does it, it makes people's clothes explode.
Hey, if I'm high, it probably tastes delicious.
Yeah, I mean, it probably tastes good, but it's so fun, dude. It's like the dynamic with all the characters, like everyone has their own kind of like niche in the cooking scene. And like, I know there's like this type of like divide between like anime and like their sports anime, and a lot of people don't like it. And as much as Yu Yu Hakusho isn't like a typical like sports anime, but it's like cooking competitions. But I think it does a great job of like framing that in a way that's not too off-putting for people who just want like action anime. So it's definitely one of those shows that I think anyone can get a kick out of watching, and I'm definitely gonna put my vote for Food Wars as well. So we'll have that one moving into the next round.
Easy dub.
And the bottom half of the bracket is where we're going to be going to now. And honestly, this is where some of the big debates are going to come into. We talked about it a little bit before once we randomized the bracket, and we had a couple of disagreements, but you have to just wait and see how it shakes out. So right here we got Mob Psycho 100 versus Naruto. And this one we might get some hate for this, or I might get some hate for this, but I'm going to be picking Mob over Naruto. I just am not a big Naruto fan. I don't really like the show that much. Like, it was okay. Like many other people, it was one of like the first anime I watched, like the ones I was introduced to that I like knew at the time was anime. Like, I remember watching it in middle school. There was like a rerun on like Teen Nick or something. I don't even know what it was on, but there was like a huge stream of episodes. It was all during the what was the exams when they was it the Shinobi exams? Is that what it was?
Chunin exams.
Chunin exams, okay. So it's during the Chunin exams, and obviously those are like that's like one of the best arcs in Naruto, first of all. And so I like Naruto. It was fun. It was a good show. I just can't get over how it takes 23 episodes to get through one fight. It just feels like at sometimes like the pace just creeps along, and like it's I don't know. There's a lot of cool characters. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens, but I think the pacing really turned me off to it. Mob Psycho, sick show. You know, Mob's a gangster. Reagan's a gangster. Reagan's a turbo gangster. I think Reagan sweeps Naruto and maybe Sasuke 2v1, but that's for a different video, not for now. But so I'm going to go ahead and leave my vote with Mob Psycho, and I'm going to pass the mic over.
All right, so obviously I disagree with this opinion. Now, Mob Psycho is, like, look, comparing Naruto to Mob Psycho, like, there's a reason one of these shows is called a member of the Big Three. And Mob Psycho isn't even the creator of the show, that's not even his best show. Like, he comes out with Mob Psycho 100 and a One Punch Man, and you're going to tell me that the second best show that, like, I 1/100th of the audience for One Punch Man liked is going to be Naruto? There's no shot. Like, you said it yourself, the tuning exam is by far one of the best arcs in this anime, Naruto here, and that's the reason that they played it, like, on Toonami, over and over every time. Like, the reason 90% of the people that are going to be watching this video even know what anime is because of Naruto. Mob Psycho 100, I bet you at least half the people in the audience of this video will be like, I've actually never seen that before. So there's no doubt in my mind that Naruto takes the dub on this one. Big Three. It's not even my favorite.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and point out this one little statistic for you, huh? Let's say you swallow this one. I just went ahead and when you were talking, I looked up the My Anime List scores because you were bringing up the Big Three and whatnot. Mob Psycho is an 8.4, Naruto's a 7.9. So the anime community on My Anime List.
Are we talking about Naruto or Naruto and Naruto Shippuden? That's my question.
Well, I don't even know if Naruto Shippuden is going to be higher than an 8.4, but no, they separate it. So I'll go ahead and look up the Shippuden. Yeah. Naruto Shippuden, My Anime List. And we come up with a 8.25, so still lower than Mob Psycho. But,
all right, so combined score of 15.
Okay, all right. Let's combine all the seasons of Mob Psycho then. But so I'm willing to concede to Naruto on this one if that's what you want, or if you really feel strongly about it.
Okay, so in terms of the Big Three, Naruto is in second place for me, and I don't know that I'm willing to concede on the other one because I know we're going to have a debate on that, so I might give you Mob Psycho for that specific reason.
Okay, well, then, sorry, you little Naruto stans and fanboys, but,
all of you know that Waga Otoji do not agree with this. I'm just conceding because there's one that I like more.
Wait for it. Boom, moving on. I'll let you start the next one because I know you're going to feel pretty strongly about this.
Dude, I don't even have to argue this one. One Piece is the greatest shonen anime of all time. Like, it beats every other one, even Dragon Ball. I don't care. Yeah, Goku solos everybody outside of his verse, but, like, he can't even, like, bro, right now, there's nobody for him to fight in his show, okay? Like, still. Attack on Titan, don't even come at me with this. This one doesn't even deserve to be talked about in comparison to One Piece, in my opinion. It's the most basic anime of all time. Like, dude, after they found out the secret, what was in Aaron's basement, the show fell off. It's so boring now. Don't talk to me. I don't care about the final season. You're all wrong. One Piece is the greatest show of all time, and dude, no contest in my mind. Solos every other show here.
Okay, and we heard that from good old Waga Diaruji. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give my choice to Attack on Titan. I didn't watch One Piece. I read a good portion of it. Like, I read up to like chapter 800 or something. And then I just kind of like fell off a little bit from my scheduled reading times. And when you get out of a show or like a manga, it's kind of hard to jump back in. So I'm not like caught up by any means. But I just kind of saw it as like, just like another Naruto, Dragon Ball, typical shonen type scheme it was following. So my pick would be Attack on Titan, but I'm not like the hugest Attack on Titan guy either. So as we decided with the Yugioh and Bleach one, I think that we're going to go ahead and give it to One Piece because I'm not going to be heartbroken if One Piece takes the win here. But might be heartbroken later, so we'll see that. Next one, another big debate. I'll start this one off. JoJo's versus Dragon Ball. So we'll be counting like I saw everything up to like the big tournament arc in Dragon Ball with the universes at stake and whatnot. I haven't seen any like the new stuff. And so then we'll be talking about up to there in this debate, and in JoJo's I've read up to part 7. So we can talk anything up to around there. First season of JoJo's, I hated it. Didn't like it at all. It took me like 3 times to get through it, and I like dropped the show multiple times. Second season was better. Still not great. Third season though. Third season is where the gangsters come in. So third season of JoJo's was fucking sick. Like it was gangster. And then fourth season was horrible, horrible, terrible. I hated it. Every moment of it. Not a single good episode. I hated it. I don't care what you tell me. Part 4 sucked. Part 5, gangster again. Gangster again. So based on that, I think that Jotaro and Giorno can easily carry JoJo's through to the second round. Dragon Ball's super sick. Like, I was a kid watching it, loved it. Like, first time Goku goes Super Saiyan, or anyone goes Super Saiyan, Goku against Frieza. Super sick moment in anime history. Like, it's like cemented in anime history. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens. Like, the Cell arc was super sick. Like, there's so many cool stuff that happens in Dragon Ball. But I think that it would be, like, disingenuous to, like, there's so much in Dragon Ball, you know what I mean? There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes. And so obviously it's going to have a lot of cool moments, but I think I have to look at it like percentage wise. Like I'd say there's 4, like maybe 5 super sick arcs in Dragon Ball out of however many, like there's hundreds and hundreds of episodes. JoJo's shorter sample size, and 2 of the seasons were super gangster. So I'm putting my vote for JoJo's, and I'm going to pass the mic.
All right, so I mean, I don't know. There's like a very niche community of people who are going to hate me from now on. But I don't like JoJo's at all. I found the show
You coward.
before it gained like extreme popularity. Like day one, it released on Hulu. I think was the first place it released in the States because it was like a kind of out there, and like I mean everybody saw season 1. It was weird. All right, like I watched that, and when it first came out, I enjoyed it, but really just because of like the weird shock factor, I didn't know what was going on. No, there was nobody to talk about it with yet. I showed it to a bunch of my friends who were like, I mean, look, the Gym Bro anime watchers, and they all love it now. Good for them. But I got up to part 3 with Jotaro, and I just couldn't anymore. JoJo's, it's for a very specific type of people, and I am not that person. It's a great show. It's got great animation, a good story. I just do not enjoy the show. So for this one, based on that alone, my vote already goes for Dragon Ball. But Dragon Ball was, again, this goes along with Yu Yu Hakusho, one of the first anime I've ever seen. It got me really into the shonen genre. Along with One Piece, I think it was one of the One Piece movies always played on Toonami, along with just episodes of Dragon Ball. Like Trap God said here, the first time we see a Saiyan go Super Saiyan, Goku fighting Frieza, was just the craziest thing I've ever seen for me. I didn't even know it was called anime at the point of watching Dragon Ball.
Gold hair, come on.
I just thought it was like a crazy cartoon that I was watching there. But Dragon Ball for introducing me to anime in general, getting me into Shonen. Sean Schimmel screaming for 3 minutes straight as he goes to Super Saiyan 3 against Majin Buu. Like, there are just so many individual sick moments in Dragon Ball that just carried my love for anime to what it is today. And comparing it to a majority of the other shows, we've already heard my opinion on one of the other main shonens, One Piece, compared to Dragon Ball, but comparing it to most of the other shows in here, there is just not many that could do what Dragon Ball has done for me, comparatively. Like, I don't think JoJo's is it, but that's just my opinion, and I know I'll probably get a lot of hate for that. But either way, Dragon Ball for sure on this one for me.
Okay, so this is the first one I think we're going to have to do the coin flip. So I'm going to go ahead and load up Siri. We'll go heads for JoJo's, tails for Dragon Ball.
I did also
flip
send
a coin
you a link that you could show on screen, a coin flipping.
Okay, well, I got heads. So...
Which one was which?
It went heads, tails. So like top one, JoJo's was heads. And I'm being completely genuine here. It was a heads. It was a heads. It was a heads. It was a heads. And moving on. This one, I think, is going to be super interesting. I think it's your turn to go, so I'll let you start it off.
Yeah, so this one, I feel like I definitely agree. Like both of these have great stories. One of them is just more established, and then the other one is newer. And I think those are the main points of contention. Like one has been a great story for like a really long time, and the other one is rather new with a great story, but just looks better. Now, I think it's pretty obvious what I'm talking about, but Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is clearly the established great story that we've had here. It's had time to marinate. You know, people aren't really sitting there like, oh my god, like this show is so good because it's the first time they're watching it. We've had it for such a long time, and people still talk about it as if it's one of the greatest stories of all time, and I am of that opinion as well. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like Jujutsu Kaisen. I honestly think, you know, in the future, this could be one of the greatest of all time. But comparing it to something like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood right now, it just, you know, it's clearly going to lose. Like, animation can only carry you so far when you're going up against such a titan like this. So my vote definitely goes to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. In the future, you know, like if we do this in a couple of years after a couple more seasons and come out, my opinion might change. But right now, no contest. Definitely goes to Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay, so totally agree with everything that was just said. Yeah, you gotta give it to FMAB here. Like it's just a great story. Like it's one of those anime that like locked you in when you were watching it, and you really like were invested in everything that was happening. I feel like it aligns a lot with Hunter x Hunter for me, because that one was a show that sucked me in. Like I was watching every second of it, like intently at the screen. Like I wasn't scrolling through Twitter on my phone while the show was on. I wasn't like playing games or something while the show was on. I was watching, and I wanted to know like everything that happened. And I think FMAB had that same effect on me. And although Jujutsu Kaisen's like super cool, right? Like crazy again, like just like Demon Slayer, like crazy like animation. Like Gojo's obviously super sick. Like his domain and stuff is super cool, super overpowered, awesome. Like everything about that's cool, right? But that's super cool if it was going up against like other people on this list, maybe like Yu Hakusho, Bleach, Food Wars, like something else. It might win, but not against FMAB. Like it's just such a good story, like good show, like great storytelling, like all the characters keep you invested. So I think we're gonna go ahead and give this one to FMAB, and that'll be the last of the first round. Hey guys, this video was a little longer than I originally expected, so I'm chopping it up into 2 parts. If you like this type of debate format, let me know in the comments below. And for fans of Isekai, we actually did another tournament bracket on Waga Uruji's channel with Isekai Anime. Well, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when part 2 drops. I'll see you guys next time. Trap God Senpai out.